Hey everyone, welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today into something we all want. Those
Yeah.
truly fulfilling relationships that just
Mhm.
feel really solid.
Absolutely.
And the source material you guys sent in takes such a unique angle on this.
It does.
Like it's not just about,
Right.
the typical communication
Yeah.
tips. It goes deeper.
Yeah. It really gets into this whole spiritual dimension
Yeah.
of how to protect relationships.
Protect those bonds,
Oh, that's
exactly.
fascinating.
So
Yeah.
the source lays out 4 key principles to make these relationships thrive.
Okay.
And I love that word, thrive.
Yeah.
Not just survive, but
Exactly.
thrive.
Mhm.
The first one is be quick to forgive. And it starts by acknowledging something. I think we probably all know,
Yeah.
but maybe forget sometimes.
Uh-huh.
None of us are perfect.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right.
No one is perfect.
And it even calls that initial honeymoon phase of a relationship,
Oh, yeah.
where everything seems ideal. It
Right.
calls it a big lie.
The honeymoon phase.
Have you ever fallen into that trap
Oh, yeah.
where you put someone on a pedestal
All the time.
only to be like,
Oh.
yeah, and you know what I think it's interesting is how this source connects that to Colossians 3.13,
Ooh.
where it talks about forgiveness being like a command,
Whoa.
not a suggestion.
Wow.
Like we're commanded to forgive.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It is.
It makes you really think about, like, the
does.
weight of it.
Absolutely.
So it's not about letting
it's
people
like-
off the hook.
It's not about just
Those
like
are bad behavior.
excusing everything.
Yeah, the source makes it clear that true forgiveness is about letting go of
Hmm.
that bitterness that we hold on to.
Yeah, that we harbor.
I had
And then
ever
ends up, and hurting ourselves
hurting us.
more than anyone else a lot of times.
More than the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
There's actually research on this, too.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Like, studies have shown that holding on to grudges can actually increase your stress level,
Oh, wow.
your anxiety, and even contribute to physical health problems.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's not just a spiritual
Yeah.
or moral thing.
Right.
It's actually good for our bodies to forgive.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, forgiveness has been linked to, like, lower blood pressure,
Really?
reduce symptoms of depression,
No.
and even improve sleep quality.
Well, I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
So it's like this powerful tool we have
It is.
that impacts not just our relationships, but
No.
also our own
Or it won't be.
inner peace.
Yeah.
But then it goes a step further
Uh-huh.
and says, be quick to ask for forgiveness.
Okay, interesting.
It's like this two-way street. Take
Yeah.
ownership of your
I
actions.
like that.
And it uses this really interesting example
Okay.
from Matthew 5.2324,
Okay.
where someone's told to interrupt
Oh, wow.
like a super important religious ceremony
Oh, my God.
to go make amends
Oh, wait.
if they've wronged someone.
So it's that important.
That's how vital it is.
Yeah,
Have you ever had an experience
I
where
hope
you
not.
realized,
many times.
oh, God.
Where I just had to swallow my pride and be like,
Yeah.
you know what? I
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah.
I need to ask for your forgiveness.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
No, it's not.
But I think what's insightful here
Yeah.
is that the source recognizes that sometimes
Right.
we hurt people unintentionally.
Yeah.
We don't always mean to cause harm, but,
Right.
the impact is still there.
It's still real.
Yeah.
So it's not always about blame.
It's not about pointing fingers.
It's about recognizing that pain.
Yeah. Acknowledging it.
And trying to repair.
Make things right.
So it's this two-way street of forgiveness.
Sure.
We're laying down this foundation of
Sure.
grace
I love that.
in our relationships.
Yeah. And I think this connects really well
Okay.
to what the source says about commitment.
Okay.
Because true commitment means sticking by someone
Mm-hmm.
even when things are hard.
Yeah, it's easy to show up for the good times.
Exactly.
But what about when those storms roll in?
Right. When those inevitable storms roll in.
The source actually says something like,
Okay.
you have to be willing to ride out the emotional storms together.
I love that.
So it's more than just
It is.
fair weather friendship.
Yeah. It's about being all in
Yeah,
through thick and thin.
exactly.
Like Proverbs 17.1 says,
Okay.
a friend loves at all times,
Wow.
and a brother is born for adversity.
That's beautiful. It is. That really speaks to how deep this commitment needs to be.
Yeah. And that's where communication comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Because how can you navigate those stormy seas
Right.
without, clear, honest communication?
Right. And the source really emphasizes
It does.
open, honest communication is vital.
It's vital.
It's about creating that safe space
Yeah.
where you can both share what you're feeling.
Right. Your needs.
Or concern.
Without fear of
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah. And that helps to prevent misunderstandings
Totally.
from becoming major conflicts.
It's like having a pressure valve
It is.
for the relationship.
Yes.
Oh, this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Because now the source introduces this idea of spiritual protection. It
Interesting.
actually says,
Okay.
as soon as the enemy senses that you are happy,
Oh.
he wants to attack you.
Whoa. Kind of a chilling thought, right?
It is a little bit.
Like it's saying relationships are a target.
Right, because they represent something good.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to clarify here
Okay.
that we're not talking about some literal enemy.
Right.
You
Or
know,
a monster.
like a monster under the bed.
Right.
But the source is drawing on John 10:10,
Okay.
which talks about this like spiritual battle for
Hi.
our well-being.
Okay.
And so, relationships, especially the good ones that bring us joy, become prime targets for anything
Okay.
that's trying to like disrupt that happiness.
Yeah.
It's not about being paranoid, but just being aware
Yeah.
of the subtle ways
Oh,
that
yeah.
negativity can chip away at us.
Chip away at those bonds.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's more about recognizing that there are forces,
right.
both internal
It's external
and external, that can erode a strong relationship.
if we're not careful.
And it seems like the source is saying that
Uh-huh.
this enemy uses specific tactics
Yeah.
to try to do that.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the ways this negativity?
Yeah, so the source mentions things like negative thoughts,
Okay.
misunderstandings,
Yeah.
gossip,
Yeah.
and even people who intentionally or not
Right.
try to sow discord.
Okay.
It's about recognizing those potential pitfalls
Okay.
and making a conscious choice
Mm.
not to let them
Yeah.
take root.
So it's almost like we need to develop this like mental filter.
Yeah.
Being able to identify
Yes.
those negative influences
Mhm.
and choosing not to give them power.
Choosing out to buy into them.
Yeah, how do we do
Oh,
that in practice?
It's easier said than done.
It is.
It is. The source suggests
Right.
turning to a higher power
Okay.
for guidance.
Okay.
Whether that's through prayer
Yeah.
or meditation or whatever that looks like for you.
Right.
It's about cultivating that positive internal environment
Okay.
so that, we're less susceptible.
So we're not as vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's like building a shield
You're
around
so-
the relationship,
Mhm.
not just from the outside.
Yeah. Not just from the outside stuff,
But
but from the inside too.
that negativity that can grow.
That can creep in if we let it.
So we're not just reacting.
We're not just putting out fires
Yeah.
to the negativity.
Yeah, but we're strengthening
Strengthening the foundation, the
Yeah.
core
of the relationship.
from the inside out.
From the inside out. I love that.
Building up that resilience.
Yeah.
So that when those challenges inevitably come,
Which they will.
we're better equipped
We're better able to handle them.
to handle them.
Absolutely.
So would you say this?
I think that's a really great way to put it.
Okay.
It's about,
Yeah.
recognizing that,
Yeah.
relationships are going to be tested.
They're going to be tested.
There will be disagreements. There will be disappointments.
Right.
And there will be times where we need to
Right.
work through some tough stuff.
Yeah.
And having that spiritual foundation
Yeah.
doesn't mean those things won't happen.
Right.
But it gives us, I
Yeah.
think, the tools
The tools and the perspective.
and the perspective to navigate them
without losing sight.
without losing sight of the love
What matters.
that brought you together in the first place.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's
A great place to pause for now.
good.
We've covered 3
3 out of 4.
for 4 keys to building these lasting relationships.
Right.
Forgiveness.
Yes.
Asking for forgiveness
Yeah.
and commitment paired with
With good communication.
good communication.
Yes.
And we've just started
We've just begun.
to explore this fascinating idea of
Yeah.
spiritual protection.
When we come back,
Yeah.
we'll delve into the source's advice
Okay.
on how to actually
Yeah.
safeguard our relationships and make those connections last.
I love it.
Stay tuned.
See you soon. Welcome back. Before the break,
Yeah.
we were talking about protecting relationships
Mm-hmm.
spiritually.
Yes, and I think
Yeah.
it's good to remember
Yeah.
this isn't about
Right.
some mystical force out to get us.
Right.
It's more about
Yeah.
recognizing how negativity can.
Negativity from ourselves and
Yeah.
the world around us can really
Yeah, that's it.
impact those connections.
It impacts everything.
Yeah.
It really does.
So it's like realizing that relationships need tending,
Yeah.
not just practically like making time for each other, but also in this deeper sense
Yeah.
of guarding against those forces that can cause harm.
That can cause damage.
So what are some practical ways that we
Mm-hmm.
can apply this
Yeah, that's a good question.
idea of spiritual protection?
Yeah, so the source emphasizes
Right.
the power of prayer
Okay.
and reliance on a higher power
Okay.
as a way to
Yeah.
strengthen the relationship.
It's not about asking for a magic fix.
It's not about like a
Right.
quick fix.
Right. It's more.
It's about seeking guidance
Yeah.
and support
Okay.
when those inevitable challenges.
When those challenges come up.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because when we're overwhelmed
Right.
or we feel lost,
Or loss.
it's so easy to react
Yeah.
from a place of fear
Yeah.
or frustration.
Or frustrate.
But taking a moment
Yeah.
to connect with something bigger
Yeah.
can help us approach those challenges
Yeah.
with more clarity.
With more clarity, more compassion.
Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I think we all have those moments where we just feel like we're drowning in negativity.
Yeah.
And when we can step back
Yeah.
and tap into that inner strength,
Yes.
it completely shifts your perspective.
Oh, it's like that reminder that we're not alone.
Exactly.
There's a source of support
There is.
that we can draw on,
And I think that's especially important.
especially in relationships.
In relationships.
Because let's face it,
Right.
they can be challenging.
It can be so challenging.
And the source actually goes on to highlight
Okay.
some of the enemy's tactics.
Okay.
It talks about things like
Okay.
negative thoughts,
Negative thoughts. Yeah.
misunderstanding,
Misunderstandings. Those are big.
and even people who might intentionally or unintentionally try to sow discord.
Yeah. It's like we need to become
Yeah.
negativity detectives.
That's a great way to put it. It's like
I-
spotting those red flags
Yeah.
before they
Before they take root.
take root. Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we're developing this mental filter.
We are. We're building that muscle.
Yeah. To identify those negative influences.
Being able to just like
Yeah.
let them roll off our backs.
Yeah, but how do we do that?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. That's the question.
Easier said than done.
It is. And I think that's where those spiritual practices
Yeah.
come in.
Okay.
Like prayer meditation or
Yeah.
anything that just helps you
Yeah.
feel more at peace.
Yeah.
It's about proactively
Mhm.
creating a space
Yes.
where negativity can't thrive.
So we're strengthening the relationship
Yes.
from the inside out,
From the inside out.
building up that resilience.
Yeah.
So that when those challenges come,
We're better equipped to handle them.
exactly.
Is that a good way to think about it?
I think that's a really great way to put it.
Okay.
It's about,
Yeah.
recognizing that,
Right.
relationships are going to be tested.
They are.
There will be disagreements, disappointments,
Yeah.
times where we need to
Yeah.
work through some tough stuff.
Yeah.
And having that spiritual foundation doesn't mean those things won't happen,
Right.
but it gives us the tools
As tools and the perspective
to navigate them.
without losing sight of that
We're losing sight of the love.
that connection
Yeah, the connection
that brought us together
in the first place.
in the first place.
Yeah.
I think it's also worth emphasizing
Okay.
that this isn't about becoming like an emotionless robot.
Right.
It's about learning to respond to challenges
Yeah.
in a healthier way.
In a more constructive way.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it's about being
It's about being flexible,
flexible.
adaptable, and being able to bounce back
Yeah.
from those setbacks.
And isn't that what we all want
Exactly.
in our relationships,
Yeah.
to weather the storm
Yeah.
and come out stronger
Come out stronger on the other side.
on the other side?
Exactly. And this whole idea of spiritual protection
Yeah.
really ties back to
That other principle.
the other principles
Yeah.
like forgiveness
The commitment.
and commitment.
Yeah, man.
Because when we have that strong inner foundation,
Okay.
it's easier to let go of resentment.
Okay.
It's easier to
Yeah.
stay committed
Stay committed.
when things get tough.
Even when things get tough.
And to communicate more openly.
Yeah. And communicate more openly.
Honestly,
Wait.
it's like everything flows
Yeah.
when we're taking care of ourselves
Yes.
on that deeper level.
It's empowering for our listeners.
It is. It's a reminder that
Yeah.
we have a lot more control
Yeah.
over the health of our relationships
We might realize.
than we think.
Yeah.
And it starts with that inner work.
Yeah.
It starts with,
With that inner work.
cultivating our own sense of peace
Yeah.
and well-being.
And that leads me to a question I've been pondering.
Right.
What if the most important relationship we need to protect
Okay.
is the one we have with ourselves?
That is such a good question.
Right.
And it makes me think about how often we neglect
Yeah.
that relationship.
We do. We're so hard on ourselves.
We criticize ourselves.
Yes.
We put ourselves down.
Yes.
We don't give ourselves the same love and compassion
Take same grace.
that we offer to other people.
So true.
Right.
It's like this double standard.
Yeah.
Where we forgive others so quickly.
But we hold ourselves to this impossible standard.
Yes.
It's crazy.
How do we start to shift that?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And I think it starts with awareness, but like noticing those negative thought patterns and consciously choosing to challenge them.
To challenge them, yeah.
Replacing that self-criticism with self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Recognizing that we're all works in progress.
Works in progress.
You know, and that we deserve kindness.
Kindness and understanding.
Even when we make mistakes.
Even when we make mistakes.
Which we all do.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's about treating ourselves the way we would treat a loved one.
Exactly.
And when we can do that, I have a feeling it changes everything.
It changes everything.
In our relationships.
It does. It really does.
So when we feel secure in ourselves, we're not constantly seeking that validation.
You're not looking for
from others.
From other people.
And we can approach relationships from a place of wholeness rather than neediness.
That's a great point.
And then that changes.
Yeah, it changes the whole dynamic.
The whole dynamic.
And it allows us to give and receive love more freely.
Yes.
We're not coming from that place of scarcity.
Right.
We're coming from a place of abundance.
Abundance. Right. And that impact.
And that shift.
Yeah, that shift.
Makes a huge difference.
In how we connect.
Yeah, and the quality of our connections.
And this really ties back to all 4 keys.
It does.
That we've been talking about.
All 4 keys.
To building these lasting relationships.
Yeah.
Forgiveness of ourselves and others.
Absolutely.
Becomes easier when we understand that we're all works in progress.
That we're all works in progress all the time.
We're all constantly learning and growing.
Absolutely.
Communication becomes more authentic.
We're more authentic.
Because we're not afraid.
We're not afraid to be ourselves.
To be ourselves.
To be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable,
Knowing that our worth isn't based on someone else's approval.
It's so liberating.
It is.
And think about commitment.
Yeah.
It becomes more sustainable.
But
when we're also committed.
When we're committed to ourselves.
To our own well-being.
Exactly.
We have more to give.
Yeah.
When we're taking care.
When we're taking care of ourselves.
Of ourselves.
And finally. That spiritual protection.
Spiritual protection.
Becomes even more powerful.
It does.
When it starts from within.
When it starts from within.
When we have a strong connection to our own inner strength. We're less likely to be swayed by negativity. By external negativity.
Or those voices of self-doubt.
Those voices of self-doubt. It's like
a shield.
A shield.
Yeah.
So it all comes full circle.
It does.
Building these lasting quality relationships.
Starts with building that relationship.
Starts with building that relationship.
With ourselves.
With ourselves.
It's the foundation.
It's the foundation.
For everything else. For everything else.
Yeah, I think
that's a great place to pause.
A great place to pause.
So let that question sink in.
To let that question sink in for our listener.
Yes. Give them a moment.
A moment to reflect.
To reflect on that.
When we come back. We'll explore some practical ways to actually nurture that relationship.
I love it. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Before the break, we were talking about how the most important relationship we need to protect might be the one we have with ourselves.
It's true.
It's such a powerful idea.
It is.
And it makes me think about all the ways we can kind of accidentally
sabotage
our own happiness.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting because self-love isn't about being egotistical or vain or anything.
Not narcissistic.
No, it's about recognizing our own worth and treating ourselves with the same kindness and compassion.
Yeah. We would offer to someone we love.
Yeah, like a friend or a family member.
Exactly. And when we can do that, it just changes.
And that's everything.
How we show up.
How we show up. Yeah.
In all of our relationships.
It's like that saying.
It is.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Right.
If we're constantly putting ourselves down.
Yeah.
Or focusing on flaws.
Right.
That negativity
spills over.
Is going to spill over.
Into everything.
Into everything.
Into how we treat people.
How we interact with others.
Yeah. We might be more critical.
Yeah.
More judgmental.
Yeah. More likely to withdraw.
Right.
Emotionally.
Absolutely.
Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
In yourself or in...
Yeah. In myself and in other people.
Yeah.
For sure.
But when we cultivate self-love.
Then it's like we're building up this reservoir of strength and resilience.
Yes.
We're less likely to take things personally. We're more forgiving of ourselves and others.
Yes.
And we're better able to set boundaries.
It's a game changer.
It is.
It really is.
It is.
It makes so much sense.
It does.
Because when we feel secure in ourselves, we're not constantly looking.
We're not looking for it.
For that validation from others.
From other people, yeah.
Yeah, and we can approach those relationships from a place of wholeness.
Of wholeness.
Rather than neediness.
I love that.
And that changes.
It changes everything.
The whole dynamic.
It really does.
And it allows us to
give and receive love.
More freely.
More freely.
Because we're not coming from that place of scarcity.
Yeah.
We're coming from a place of abundance.
Like abundance. Yes. And that shift.
That shift is huge.
It is huge.
It
changes
equality or connections.
And this really ties back to all four of the keys.
The lasting relationships we've been exploring. Forgiveness of ourselves and others becomes easier.
So much easier.
When we understand.
When we realize that we're works in progress.
Works in progress.
We're all messing up.
Yeah, we're all learning.
Yeah.
We're all growing.
Absolutely.
Communication becomes more authentic.
More authentic because we're not afraid.
Right. We're not afraid
to be ourselves.
To be ourselves, to be vulnerable.
To be vulnerable.
To speak our truth.
Knowing that our worth isn't based
on someone else's opinion.
Yeah. It's so liberating.
It is.
And think about commitment.
Okay.
It becomes more sustainable.
It does.
When we're also committed
to our own well-being. Yeah.
We have more to give when we're taking care.
We're taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
And
spiritual protection becomes so much more powerful.
Yeah, it does. When it starts.
When it starts from within.
From within.
When we have that strong connection to our own
inner strength. We're less likely.
Yeah, we're less likely
to be swayed. By that negativity.
Yeah, by that external negativity.
Or those voices of self-doubt.
Yeah, those voices in our heads that tell us we're not good enough.
We're not enough.
Yeah, it's like
having a shield.
A shield.
Yeah.
So it all comes full circle.
It really does.
Building these lasting quality relationships.
Starts with ourselves.
Starts with building that relationship with ourselves.
It's the foundation.
For everything.
For all of our relationships.
And that's such a beautiful thought to end on.
It is.
It's a reminder that we have the power. To create the kind of relationships we long for.
Yeah.
It all starts with that one crucial relationship.
Yes. The one we have with ourselves.
That's it.
So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
On this deep dive into
relationships.
Building those lasting quality relationships.
Yeah, we hope you got some good stuff.
Some tools.
Some insights.
To start building those rock solid relationships.
Yeah, starting with yourself.
Starting with yourself.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.